So Jack Ladson was my grandfather. And he was sort of a larger-than-life character. He was born in Moultrie, Georgia in 1912 and spent his childhood there and then moved here to Vidalia. He was a comical character. He had a great sense of humor. He had a very sharp, keen intellect. And he was just a Southern gentleman. He liked to kid around with me a lot. He would tell me funny stories, and we spent a lot of time together. I usually would race home from school and couldn't wait to get up here to see my grandfather.
My father, genealogy was his hobby. It's never been my hobby, although he imbued in both his sons a strong interest in history. What drew him to genealogy was a chance encounter with a couple of old maids by the name of Ladson in Charleston, and they called out the name William Ladson. And when the occasion was over, these two elderly women were very curious about these Georgia Ladsons that were in Charleston that they knew nothing about, because the name is a South Carolina name. It originated there when John and Frances Ladson came from the Barbados in 1679. That sort of piqued my father's interest in finding out more about his family. From the time I was a small boy on, I remember him amongst his books. Of course, they kept multiplying over time. The books were stacked in bookcases and in closets and all over the place. It was hard to tell at any given time just how many he had. They might be stacked on the beds in the guest house or whatever. It's been estimated at the time was around 15,000 volumes, so that's the best guess I can give you. I certainly didn't count them. I did help move them.
He was a storyteller. I remember him telling lots of stories, and he was a collector of stories. Loved to tell stories, but loved to learn about other people's stories and hear other people's stories.
He was a collector by nature. You know, there's some people that just like to collect things, but the books were always foremost. My mother always said he would have made a great detective because he just liked solving mysteries. By 1980, it was evident that this place was overflowing. I mean, this library, as you see here, it doesn't have that many books in it now, but it was full of books back then. By that time, my mother had passed away, and I'm sure she would have run him out of the house for all those books earlier. But
when the library first opened, I remember, most of his books were here in this library in his home, and of course, his collection outgrew.
We conceived the idea of forming a foundation, a private operating foundation, having him donate those books to the foundation and then partner with the local library to operate the collection, and it was a win-win.
When he moved his collection downtown, and I remember, sort of celebrating that he had opened up his library there and his office there. I remember being pretty small. I don't think my head could reach above him. It just, rows and rows and rows to me of books. I always sort of liked to go in there and play. I think I was probably playing hide and seek, with my siblings. My brother and I always try to bring somebody home to challenge him and see if he could, if he could figure out a connection. We were always trying to stump him a little bit, and my brother especially would bring friends home from Dartmouth when he was up in the Northeast, and my grandfather would still be able to find a connection. He could pick up on a family name and take it and run with it.
And he got a great deal of satisfaction, I think, in providing that information for people.
So we were always very impressed with his ability to remember so many names in his mind and to understand all the interconnectedness without the internet. That was pre-internet days. So
he would have been really intrigued today with what's going on with genealogy and the internet and Ancestry.com and relative to the DNA business that's going on.
I wonder what he would think today with the advent of all the internet genealogy and the forensic genealogy, and I think he would be amazed at how far it's come and in the direction that it's going in.
I think that his library is his legacy, and it's a great legacy, I think, for him and for our family, and I think for our community. It's something that's unique.
I will always be amazed at his ability to keep all of these books in his mind. I just think that he had an incredible, remarkable mind. He was a brilliant man.
Towns like Vidalia, we struggle to differentiate ourselves, to define our personality and make us unique. And I think the Ladson Library helps with that.